video is for business leaders who want to make more money, better decisions, and positive workplace culture. After they learn how to do that, they can train others to do the same. Watch to the end of this video for bonus points on why it's better to understand, not memorize, your learning, and my recommended video on maximizing training effectiveness. I've seen it 1,000 times. I introduce vocabulary to my students. If I say something like, make a sentence using the word from, they'll probably say something like, can you give me an example? But I tend to do the opposite of what most teachers do, and I say, no. Well, why would I do that? The reason is because they will go in the same creative direction almost every time. That is, by me giving them an example, they will then anchor to that example and simply copy it. If I say I'm from Canada, they'll say I'm from Japan. If I say I'm from Amagasaki City, Japan, they'll say I'm from Osaka, Japan. The same thing is true if I do this when I'm training leaders about persuasion techniques. If I say a lead magnet is an example of reciprocation in digital marketing, they'll get it immediately. They'll understand it immediately. That is, they understand lead magnets. But when I ask them to give an example of reciprocation, it's all but guaranteed they'll answer my lead magnet or a lead magnet. In either case, essentially what they're doing is they're very likely to copy me rather than say something new or original that is also fits the principles of the pattern that I've asked for. So even expert teachers and trainers and coaches are guilty of doing this. Essentially, by refusing to spoon feed your students examples, they're then forced to think, process, and learn deeply. It's the difference between lifting a pencil or your entire body weight over your head. The harder it is, the better. Our brains are exactly the same way. Congratulations and welcome to the bonus points. So I tell my students, understand, don't memorize. The struggle and the effort that it takes to do that, to understand a principle, then create your own relevant examples, which is kind of illustrated above, though I didn't specify any examples. It's like, here's what I want you to do. Here's the principle. Now generate your own personal relevant example or your own professional example. It helps them to apply that same principle to any situation because they created it themselves. It's about their real life, rather than if I give them the example, they'll use that example forever and they won't change anything about it. That is, they have shallow understanding, and they even have something else I'm going to talk about in a second. But their understanding is shallow because I spoon-fed the example rather than causing something which is called disfluency. And disfluency is when you make something harder than it normally would be as a way to cause people to engage in something called deep level processing. That is, to think and strive, like lifting the heavy weight rather than the light weight, provided they can do it, and not necessarily even when they fail to do it. By doing this, it generates deep learning. And it also allows them to generalize that same thing. So instead of just repeating the example, oh, reciprocation, an example of that would be a lead magnet. Yeah, but there's a lot of other examples of that people could generate if they say lead magnet themselves without being cued or primed to do that. That's cool because they created it themselves. If not, it's bad. The learning is shallow. And all that extra effort virtually guarantees that they'll remember the same lesson, the same principle forever, without memorization or with very little memorization or repetition. That's why it's far better to understand, not memorize, because the memorization, or more accurately, the remembering and production of that becomes mostly automated and mostly entrenched right from the very first time you do it. It may take a few more repetitions, but far less than just memorizing something without meaning, significance, and deep level processing. So click here or in the description to watch my recommended video on maximizing training effectiveness, and download the Mastery Habits Guide in the description so you can master anything faster. That's it for Crush It Club 297, Learning Deeply. My name is Tim B. Green. Bye for now. This video is for business.